This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. So we'll do Kirtan for some. Jayara. Oh, there's a echo coming from somewhere. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha. Yeah, go ahead, Prabhu. Somebody. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharidhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharidhari. Yashodhanandana Vraja Jana Yashodhanandana Vraja Jana Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharidhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharidhari. Yashodhanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yashodhanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. Hare Krishna to all of you. I welcome you all for this Bhagavad Gita course. We are in the sixth chapter. Today we will be discussing about Karma Yoga. Before that, let me also yesterday we did not do the quiz part of the chapter 5, which is Karma Yoga action in Krishna consciousness. We will do that, and then if you have any questions, doubts, we will clarify that, and then we'll go to the today's topic. So let me share my screen. Okay, I should have shared the other one. sorry for that. Just give me 1 second. Little. Okay, screen share. Share the other part. Yes. Okay. Okay, sorry for the delay. So let's get started. The quiz for the last yesterday's class, we'll do the quiz part of it. Okay, sorry. Okay, the answer is already here. Sorry for that. Maybe the rest of the things should be in place. Which of the following is two is better? So the answer is here. Renunciation of work or work in devotion, both A and B. So the answer as given here is that work in devotion. Because why do you think renunciation of work is not the right thing? Anybody? Or both? You can do renunciation and work in devotion. Both A, C could be the right answer, right? Why B?
Renunciation work is not recommended because one has to complete his prescribed duties.
Okay. Okay, that's right. Anybody has?
Real renunciation is not renunciation to work, but attachment to work.
Oh wow, that's really the best answer I have got. Thank you so much, Mataji. Got it. Thank you.
Prabhu.
Okay, so that's correct. Actually, renunciation is inaction, because by constitutionally you have to you are always doing some action, and you have to do your action, and getting clinched to a higher purpose and to the Supreme Lord is what one is expected, and that is what devotional service is. Thank you very much. Okay, next. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me just change this. What has happened? Let me give me 1 second. Don't mind. Let me stop my recording. So give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah.
There's something that has happened. Okay. Okay, seems good now. Okay. The next, the soul of the material world is a bit tricky. Okay.
B.
Soul of the material world is B. Okay. Anybody? Any guesses? Yes, just attempt.
D.
D, none of the above.
Okay. Okay. So the answer is B, both A and B. Because the soul of the material world, who is present in this material world, if you see in each and every atom, the Mahavishnu, he is there in the each and every paramanu, also is there, not in ourselves. He has the super soul is there in this body also, as well as in each and every atom he is there. So that is what it is there in the Shastra. The soul of the material world is Vishnu, and super soul is one and the same. Okay, so the answer Vishnu means the super soul. Okay, the Vishnu or Krishna, whatever, right? So both are there in the material world. Is it confusing? Can anybody confirm if you understood this?
I
Yes,
didn't
Prabhu,
understand. Yeah, the question was really tricky, but now I understood.
Yeah, the soul of the material world. See, the material world is also is there, And who is the soul for that material world? This is the see, our body is one. See, slowly if you go, you'll see that whatever you see in your body, you'll see it in the entire material world also. So because you are not different than the material world, like in the sense whatever is happening here, it is that influence of the material world is also there on you. And the entire astronomy that you have, the our Vedic astronomy, if you see, they predict the influence of the grahas on you, and then they can tell you when what is going to happen now, what is going to happen later, and that holds good for so many things. So the soul of the entire material world is the super soul, okay, because he is the person who is controlling everything. So that's why, see, I am the if in one way the soul, if it is there, but this body is there. Similarly, for this entire universe, if it has to go in a certain way, there must be somebody to manage that, and that is none other than the super soul or Vishnu. Okay, so both are correct, A and B, because Vishnu and super soul are non-different, right? Okay, next question. Are the ultimate aim of Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga the same? Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes. Okay.
Yes,
Next.
Prabhuji.
One more person, please.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Can somebody justify? How?
Both talks about the difference between body and soul.
Your
Both gives liberation.
yeah, Mataji, go ahead.
Liberation. Both.
Okay. Okay, so the answer is yes. The correct answer is yes. You all got it. This end of the day, whether it is Sankhya Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, okay, the best path is the Bhakti Yoga, but all these other yogas which are there in the ladder, their ultimate goal is also to realize self-realization only. So self-realization is always if each and every yoga, whether Sankhya Yoga, Karma Yoga, all this is to self-realize. So the ultimate aim is the same, self-realization. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, yes,
Right. See, I'm not spending a lot of time, but if you have any doubts, please definitely stop me, because then only we can clarify things. A man of controlled senses cannot be dashed to anyone. Yeah, answer please.
A.
What is that?
A, Prabhuji, separated.
Okay, a man of controlled senses cannot be separated to anyone. Okay, we are already separated with others. You and me are not the same.
No, I think no. Sorry, Prabhuji. I think it's C, offensive. Offensive.
Okay, yeah. Anybody has any other answer?
No.
Okay, the answer is C, offensive. You are not having offensive, meaning you are not having any animosity to anybody. Why? Because you have seen in the last class that a person who he is always the way he is doing is always peaceful. Why is he peaceful? Because he sees the supreme the spark whichever is there in me, the spirit soul. He is seeing in every other creature also. Not only just human beings, he is seeing the spark in the plants, animals, and every other living being. He is seeing it. So he is not offensive to those other beings. What reasons would you give for Arjuna being not offensive in the battlefield, as he killed so many soldiers from the Kauravas side?
A,
A.
Prabhu. A.
Yeah, answer please.
A, Prabhu.
Okay.
D, Prabhuji. D.
Okay.
D, all the above.
Okay. Okay.
All the above.
So
Correct.
the
D.
answer is all the above. He was following the orders of the Krishna. That is correct. No one was
No
killed
one
in the
was killed.
battlefield, as a soul cannot be slain. That is also correct. He was only superficially offensive in the battlefield. Right. So see, Krishna, later on, we'll see in the his cosmic form, he has shown that he has already killed all the people who are supposed to be killed in the battlefield. He's already shown that this is going to happen. You become an instrument and do it. That's what he said. He carried out the orders. If not, you get the credit also. That's good. Okay. Why a Krishna conscious person is not affected by sinful action? First of all, why a Krishna conscious person, whether he can get any sinful action, one, why a Krishna conscious person is not affected by a sinful action?
All of the above, Prabhu.
D.
Okay. Okay,
D,
so
Prabhuji.
I will get back to you on this answer. Please postpone this one. Okay.
See, Prabhuji.
Okay, so why a Krishna conscious person not affected by sinful action? He performs his duty without attachment. He surrenders the results unto the Lord. He engages himself in service. All the above. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Dash is a certain form of conditioning for the living entity.
B, Prabhuji.
B. Okay. Any other answer, please? Okay, that's correct. Desire is the subtle form of conditioning for the living, and we have seen that everything starts with a desire. Okay, whatever is the desire, okay, it is kind of, it can be a conditioning to you, because if you are doing it, so how can this, see, if suppose what kind of desires one can have, or how many types grossly, how many types of desires one can have?
Good desire, bad desire.
Good desire, bad desire. Okay, still, is there any other classification?
Material desire.
Material desire. Okay, what is the other one? Spiritual desire, right? Okay, right. So in one way, whatever desire you have, whatever you all said is also correct. But what I'm saying is that a desire, if you see in a certain way, if you wanted to have a desire, the desire is because of your selfish interest. We have seen it yesterday. So if you have a selfish interest, it will have a reaction to it. But if you have a desire where you are doing it as a service, once you are doing it as a service to the Supreme Lord, no entanglement is there. So that's what Arjuna finally did. Why, though he has done so many killings and this and that, but still nothing affected him. No sinful action has come to him, because you are doing it or dovetailing your activity with Krishna or the Supreme Lord. Or in the yajna, if you see the yajna, that you have a divine purpose or a higher purpose, for which whatever activity you are going to do, it will not be basically, you will not get any reactions to it. But if you are having a desire where selfish desire to enjoy yourself for whatever reason, then you will get entangled and the karma will get added. What is the effect of receiving the real knowledge?
C, Prabhuji.
A.
B, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Prabhuji.
Oh, who was that?
C, Prabhuji.
Okay,
C, Prabhu.
right. The answer is C. Does anybody know what is the meaning of new science?
Ignorance.
Ignorant.
Okay, I thought not many people will have that knowledge. Okay, good. Okay, which among the following are similar characteristics of the soul and super soul? Yeah.
D, Prabhuji.
All of
All of the above.
Yeah, that's correct. Why do a learned transcendentalist or a Krishna conscious person sees everyone with equal vision?
B, Prabhuji. B. B, Prabhuji.
The answer is B. Because they see Paramatma being present in everybody's heart. So that's what we have seen. But see, you need not be a very learned person to why do learned transcendentalist or a Krishna conscious person see everyone with an equal vision? a Krishna consciousness person need not be a learned person per se. Learned meaning he should not, he's a very well educated kind of thing, no. Okay, or he's got so much of gnan about shastras, not necessarily. But if he is Krishna consciousness, the simple, see, the Krishna consciousness is pretty simple in one way. You, whatever activity you are going to do it for the satisfaction of Krishna. So that is the bottom line. But all this gnan, all this knowledge, philosophy we require because we have been conditioned for so many generations, or what do you say, so many janmas. So to come out of it, that knowledge is also required, because if not, your mind will really pull you out in some other direction if you do not have that knowledge. So that's the reason. Whom among the following persons neither rejoices after achieving something nor laments after losing something related to this body?
D.
D Prabhuji.
D. Prabhuji.
Sushma Mataji is very fast. Okay, next one. What should a transcendentalist tolerate before quitting the material body?
Desire,
C.
anger and desire both.
All
C.
right, fantastic. Thank you, Mataji. Pramila Mataji. Oh, who was that, Mataji? Who's give the answer?
It's me, Prabhuji.
Okay, good. Okay, I think Pramila Mataji is not there today. She mentioned that she is going out of station. So yeah. Okay, so that's the answer. Ashtanga Yoga is divisible into dash procedure.
Prabhuji.
Yeah, answer please.
A.
Okay. Ashta means 8. That is what we will see today. What is Ashtanga Yoga? Krishna in the Krishna nicely gives an introduction to the next chapter in the end of the previous chapter. So that's how he has given about Ashtanga Yoga. So that's where this question has also come. Eightfold. Why closing of the eyes altogether not advised in the yogic process? I myself just got this question, but
C. Prabhuji. C. Prabhuji.
Around the
Because
person,
C.
because it creates fear in the person, because there is
C.
okay, is
C. Prabhuji.
D.
okay.
D Prabhuji.
Okay, so the answer, which is because there is every chance for the person to sleep. So this is more from a yogic process. Yogic process here means more from the Ashtanga Yoga meditation perspective. In Ashtanga Yoga, meditation is one part of it. In 8 limbs, one will see that. Okay, that's what they are saying. But yeah, why Krishna says what Krishna says about attaining peace from the pranks of the material nature. This was the last part we have seen yesterday.
D. Prabhuji.
Answer is correct. All the above. He is the ultimate purpose of all the sacrifice. So whatever sacrifice we do, it is the yajna. The person who is taking all that is Krishna only, Vishnu or Krishna. Okay, he's the proprietor of all the planets and demigods. That's right. Everything should be offered to his transcendental service. That's true. Okay, so today we will be discussing about Dhyana Yoga. So let's get on with our subject. And today is a very interesting topic in one way, and also there is a lot to learn from this particular chapter. Even though Krishna has mentioned that, or Arjuna also mentioned that this is a difficult process, not so suitable in this particular yuga. But again, there's a lot of revealing Krishna also gives. Let's take it. Okay, so the acronym for this particular chapter is easy, where E stands for enemy or a friend. Who is your enemy, who is your friend? That's what we wanted to find out. Okay, and A stands for Ashtanga Yoga. So the 8 limbs of yoga, where we talk about the Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, from where he has taken, and success and failure. How should we take success or failure, and who is a yogi? So that's what we'll see. Okay, the summary of the particular chapter, what we are going to discuss about the Dhyana Yoga. At the end of the chapter 5, Krishna briefly mentions the system of Ashtanga Yoga. So he mentioned about system of Ashtanga Yoga, the strict rules and regulations, and focus for a aesthetic yogi that he is to follow. That's what he mentioned, and we touched about that. And then now he is going to go into a detailed chapter on this. In the present day, millions of people worldwide practice elements of this path, which is Ashtanga Yoga. Primarily, which is not Ashtanga Yoga that they are practicing, but they are practicing one part of that which is called Hatha Yoga, and wherein pranayama also is there, which offers benefits for the physical and emotional well-being. So it's more to do this yoga which we are talking about, where Narendra Modi ji and Ramdev Baba and all these people who are trying to give that particular yoga is Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga meaning which the one which will help you in your to keep your body fit. That's also is essential. We are not denying that part, but they are not covering the entire eightfold system of Ashtanga Yoga, which is mentioned by Patanjali and what is given in the Bhagavad Gita also. So that's, just keep that in mind. Okay, in this chapter, the path of Ashtanga Yoga is explained in its entirety. Especially Krishna's purpose in discussing the eight stage path is simply to establish its impracticality. Please note this: impracticality for the purpose of self-realization and spiritual perfection. Okay, so as we discussed yesterday, somebody remembers each yuga has got one Yuga Purusha and Yuga Dharma. Okay, so in Satya Yoga, which was the method of self-realization, can somebody remember? Satya Yoga.
Meditation, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Meditation.
Yuga, what is the next Yuga?
Treta Yoga Yajna.
Yeah,
Yajnas.
Sacrifice.
And Dwapara Yuga?
Worshipping
temple.
deity.
Worshipping temples.
Yeah, deity worship. And in Kali Yuga?
Chanting.
Chanting,
Chanting.
Prabhuji.
Right. So each yuga has got its own, but again, Krishna gives this because it's a complete this thing, right? So Bhagavad Gita is not just for one yuga; it can be for any yuga also. So that is the reason he is giving that information also. Please keep that in mind. Okay. So in this age, surcharged with temptation and distraction, the easiest and topmost path of self-realization is Bhakti Yoga. Okay, in this age, Bhakti Yoga is topmost all the time, but much more relevant in Kali Yuga, because there is so much that our mind is corrupted, and we are also having so many limitations, and we are almost like not in the proper guna also, not in Sattva Guna also. So to elevate ourselves, Bhakti Yoga is the, if you have a right kind of a, what do you say, Guru, Bhakti Yoga is the best way to proceed and you for self-realization. Okay, the Ashtanga Yoga, the 8 limbs of the yoga, Ashtanga, the 8 limbs of yoga is Patanjali's classification of classical yoga as set out in the Yoga Sutras. There is a book called Yoga Sutras that Patanjali Maharshi has written, and in this book you will see that the first one in the 8th part is yamas, the discipline the one should have. Yama means what are the things that you should avoid doing. Okay, so what are the things that you should avoid is yamas. Niyamas is what are the things that you need to do, observances. Internal discipline, external discipline, both you should have. And asanas. Asanas are the postures, or it's basically the meditation seat, how it should be. And in Krishna also, in Bhagavad Gita, he mentions that you should have a kusa grass that you should lay, and after that you should have a deer mat, and there you have to sit, and in what posture you should sit, and you should keep your back straight, and lot of things are there. That is more to do with the asanas, the postures. Okay, and pranayama, the breath control, one has to do, and pratyahara, withdraw the senses. So pratyahara means withdraw the senses, and dharana, the concentration, and dhyana, the meditative absorption, and samadhi, that is the ultimate aim. But if you see the way it is given here, you might have observed that this 8 limb sequence that is there is is outer to inner kind of a thing. See, when you the first one is this one yamas niyamas, it starts like this, and finally you go to the samadhi stage, which is what your union with or integration with this supreme lord. See, finally this dhyana yoga also, it will give you the self realization, and ultimate goal is to really get liberation. So that is anyway there, but at the same time this is the process is outer to inner, so it is not easy. So that's what I'm saying. And that's what Arjuna also says. We'll see that. Okay, any doubts so far? Anything? Okay.
No, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you. So fine. So here in Bhagavad Gita 6.6, it is given that so we can read this sloka. Bandhuratma manastasya yena atmaiva jitaha atma anatmastu strutve varte advaita shrutavat. So it says that for him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends, but for one who has failed to do so, his very mind will be the greatest enemy. So if some of you might have seen the video that I might have sent, the Mookie thing, we have done, me and my mind. Did anybody see the video? What I've sent you?
Yes,
Anybody?
Prabhuji. I have
Okay.
seen.
So basically it is from here only. So the same sloka, me and my mind, how it can be a friend of yours and how it can be an enemy of yours. That is what is Krishna is mentioning here. So if it is, and if you can control your mind, and it can be your best friend. But if it is uncontrolled, it will be your greatest enemy. So one should be very careful about this, because the mind plays a very important role. And if you see in our modern society, there is hardly any emphasis for the mind control and sense control. I have seen one of the ads recently, in one of the big posters. It was says, if your mind is asking for it or something like that, if you and just go for it. So that's, I mean, that means to say that whatever your senses are kind of telling you to do, just do it. So that attitude of just do it is what, without any thought process, just do it. So that's what it has happened. So are we really advancing in the right direction? If you see in terms of the science and technology that we are doing, in the society, if you see, there is so much of confusion, there is so much of chaotic things that are happening, and the suicide rates are increasing day by day. The people with mental tensions are increasing day by day. And in US and other places, every third person visits a psychiatrist and gets treatment. So, and in turn, these psychiatrists who are treating the other people, they in turn go to some other psychiatrist and again they get treated. So that is the kind of situation we are in, and so much mind control is required. But there is not any educational means by which they can be educated, but to provide this knowledge how to control their mind. So the solution to all the problems is that one should control one's mind, and that is what is the crux. And how do we control this mind? Let us see in a very detailed way. Okay, the mechanism of the mind, if you see, so if you see, we have got three bodies. The first is the gross body, which is made up of all the panchendriyas, the earth, water, ether, and all the air and things like that. So that the gross body is made up of panchendriyas, and the subtle body is made up of mind, intelligence, and false ego. So and the soul or the spiritual body is also there, which is having the soul, right? And soul, when we talk about soul, we have seen in the previous class that there is soul and super soul sitting there, and so one is witnessing all the time. Super soul is just a witness and is also a sanctioner, and the soul is the one which is getting influenced, and this soul can get influenced with your mind also. So and that's the and how does it happen? It happens because we are in this material world, and because of the modes of nature, these influence can happen. Okay, the mind is the storehouse of the thoughts, unfulfilled desires, and the previous experiences. The mind is always there, and as I told you, when you go to you take another body also, the subtle mind also comes along with you. So whatever is your previous life's experience also, sometimes you remember. Most of the time Lord is so merciful that he doesn't wanted you to remember, and so you peacefully go to the next life, next whatever you take that birth. But sometimes you do face that kind of a problem, that you remember your past, and all the vasanas also come along with that. But yeah, so the intelligence is the decision maker, and whatever are the senses that you have, so the skin, ears, tongue, nose, and eyes, they kind of give inputs to the mind, and the mind in turn is under the control of the intelligence. But is this what is happening? We need to find out. So if you see the chariot of the body, the senses are here. They are comparing the senses with 5 horses, and the whatever is the thread that is there to control the horses is the mind, and the intelligence is the person who is doing it, and whosoever is there, who is giving direction to the intelligence, is the soul. But what happened is that in this material world, because of the modes of nature, the senses are not in control. Whatever the senses is saying, I wanted to see a movie, I wanted to indulge in certain activities, good or bad activities. If your senses are dictating and to the mind, and the mind is in turn dictating the intelligence, and the intelligence is in turn making the soul as a puppet, and it's not really influencing anything, then that is the wrong order of getting the work done. So the best way or the right way is that the soul should really give direction to the intelligence, and the intelligence in turn should give direction to the mind, and the mind should engage the senses in such a way that whatever you have desires, those desires to be fulfilled as a means by your senses. Okay, so that is what one should really do. But to what extent that is happening with each one of us, we need to find out. Okay, and our ride is so bumpy, and our mind is not in control because the senses are taken away and they are controlling us. Okay, any questions so far? So the first acronym E, enemy or friend, the 1 to 9 verses, we talk about the uncontrolled mind will agitate, misguide, and entangle the soul within the world, focusing us to succumb to the lower nature of lust, anger, and greed. So one should have a controlled mind. So that is very important, and that is what Krishna is also saying. The controlled mind, on the other hand, acts as a friend on our spiritual journey, helping us make progressive and healthy choices which bring us closer to God. So if you, the advantage of controlling your mind is that it can bring you to your ultimate purpose in your life, which is going closer to the God, or your spiritual journey will become easy, right? So when one controls and befriends the mind, one experiences tranquility, peace, and freedom from the duality of happiness and distress. So the Sita Prajna state can happen only when you are able to control your mind. So that's one has to keep in mind. Okay. So you might have experienced this, that when you are in this material world, you find that there are 2 voices that are always talking to you. Okay, it's like a one is like a devil sitting on your shoulder, and and there is one another angel sitting on your another shoulder. So there are 2 voices speaking to you. So and the point is that which voice you are going to be hearing, and you are taking the advice and going, that determines how your mind is strong. If your mind is strong enough to whom it is following, that is what will dictate, and that is what will determine your character also, right? If you are all the time listening to the devil, you will do all demonic activities. If you are listening to the your inner voice, which is angel, which is sitting on your right shoulder probably, now if you say, then you will be, your character will be more divine by nature, right? So the A stands for easy Ashtanga Yoga. The Ashtanga Yoga verses 10 to 36. Actually in this particular chapter, Krishna gives a elaborate description about the Ashtanga Yoga. So everything. So yeah, but finally Arjuna kind of gives a statement that is very important for us also to know. One way to control the mind is through the process of Ashtanga Yoga, which includes the dhyana yoga, the practice of meditation, right? But again, if you see dhyana yoga, to do dhyana yoga meditation, you have to come through the process. Yama, niyama, pratyahara, all these things you have to come, and then it comes to, so it's a long journey and it takes a lot of time. And to do all this, you need to really have that kind of a physical body, a physical environment, and all these things. In Satyayuga it was possible because they used to live for so many thousands of years, and the environment there used to be conjugal for practicing that way, right? So but in Kali Yuga, your mind is always disturbed. Where can you really take care of doing all these things? It's not that practical. That's what Arjuna is saying. Krishna explains the ancient path as it is practiced in bygone ages. He is giving what was practiced in ancient times. Living in seclusion, practicing celibacy, and under strict regulation of eating and sleeping, the yogi would sit in a perfectly erect position, focusing his consciousness on the supreme soul within. Okay, so they also mentioned that one of the things that I try to follow from this particular dhyana yoga is that always one should keep their back, whatever is the spinal cord, straight. If you are not taking care of, see, all there are two things in your physical body one has to take, because I kind of having a medical degree based on my past study that I've done in Ayurveda. So if you can take care of two things in your life with your physical body, your health will be good. The first thing is that you should keep your stomach clean. To keep your stomach clean, if you see, you tend to get diseases, and most of the diseases, 99% of the diseases you get because your stomach is not cleaned properly, or your stomach has got some problem. So clean your stomach properly, and if it is not getting cleaned properly, find out how you can clean your stomach properly. So nothing waste should be there, and once it is accumulated, and it creates they call it in Ayurvedic terms, they call it as ama. Ama means the one, see, if your stomach is not cleaned properly, the toxic whatever gases are there, or toxic things are there, they go and sit in some other place in your body, and that is where your problems get started. So one should keep that in mind. And if you want, you can use a simple technique of drinking water early in the morning. Before you really brush your teeth, you just take some half liter or whatever is your capacity. You can drink warm water, or at least normal water. Warm water is preferred. You just take, and that will put a lot of pressure on the stomach, and it will clean, and you will really feel hungry and eat, not that just because it is time and you are eating. So that is what is one practice that we do. And the second thing is that to keep your back straight, you have to do the right kind of exercises. I would recommend doing Surya Namaskara. Surya Namaskara has got all the yoga postures which will give you good health, including strength to your back. And whenever you sit, try to sit in a position where you're keeping your back straight, because you will become more alert, and you will not whatever things are being told, reception would be nice, and you can grasp a lot of things when you keep your back straight. Say just imagine when you wanted to listen to this class, you are nicely what do you say, lying down in your bed, and then listening to this class. Nothing you can getting, you might get only 5% out of the entire thing, right? And always these days children are accustomed to read on the sleeping beds. So you sit in your sleeping bed and read. That's not good. So whenever you wanted to study, study in a place which is not used for sleeping. So because the very wherever you are sleeping, there is some kind of a waves that are there which will influence you to go to sleep. So do not mix your study and the bed. So both should be two different places. Okay, so that's what here. And despite the mental and the bodily distractions, the yogi would meditate on this way for many years, maintaining stillness and complete silence. So I did this kind of a complete silence based on Buddha's teaching, which is called Vipassana, which is on the Nagarjuna Sagar Road uh, in near to Hyderabad. And they do noble silence, complete noble silence for 10 days, 9 days complete silence, and the 10th day you can speak to the participants. But that is what they do, and I did 3 of that kind of courses, where once you do that, then you can go for a course called 30 day, in which 28 days or 29 days is complete noble silence. So, and why I did all this, because I just wanted to try out before I came to this process, bhakti process. I tried those things just to see whether anything works out for me. But again, as mentioned in our shastras, what is practical, Krishna himself is saying that this is not practical. This is for the bygone days. In Satya Yuga, it was the way that they used to self-realize. So hearing about the strict discipline, Arjuna admits his amazement. This practice seems impractical and unendurable. He exclaims to discipline the mind is more difficult than controlling the wind. So he says that I can control the wind, but controlling the mind is not easy. So that's what. Why is Arjuna saying this? Can somebody tell me? Why is that Arjuna is saying this is impractical? For Arjuna also it is impractical. Why?
I think he's trying to help us because we all have all these questions and he is asking these questions from our side.
Okay, that's one answer. Good. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, anybody else? Yeah, please attempt.
Mind is
Why
always wavering.
Mind is always wavering, but why is Arjuna saying that this is impractical? Jnana Yoga is impractical. Yeah, Santosh Prabhuji.
Yeah, basically on the battlefield, in the beginning of the battle himself, he admitted his weakness in understanding the truth. Like he was seeing all his relatives, and he said, "How can I kill? I can rather go to, you know, some forest and beg rather than think." So he always expressed his own inability. So for him, it looks like impossible because he himself he feels he's trapped in that circle. Probably.
Okay. Yeah, if you see each yuga has got one yuga dharma. When Krishna was present, okay, at that time almost it is the Dwapar Yuga is ending. When Arjuna was there and Krishna was there, Dwapar Yuga was ending and the Kali Yuga started, or it's going to start. So the influence of Kali is always there, it's also there. So in one way, if you see Arjuna as a time frame and our time frame is almost the same with respect to Yuga Kalpa. So that way he is kind of voicing out whatever we are going to experience, because he is contemporary in one way to us, contemporary in terms of the yuga. 5000 years back the Kali Yuga started, and we are also after 5000 years we are in this Kali Yuga, right? So, and at that time only, if Arjuna said it is impossible for and it's impractical, what about after 5000 years? The Kali has influenced much more, and it is not practical for us to go and do this kind of a thing. But we can pick up some good things, whatever we want, as part of the Ashtanga Yoga. And as it is mentioned that for keeping your body fit, you can use some of the things from Ashtanga Yoga, especially the Hatha Yoga part. Yeah, that's what. Okay, and the next S stands for success and failure. The verses 37 to 45, hearing about the different Ashtanga Yoga process raises a new concern for Arjuna. So what happens is that what happens if one faithfully takes to this yogic process but later falls away without perfecting his spiritual consciousness. Now here sometimes you see that Arjuna kind of goes off track. But though the question what he is asking here is not per se related to Dhyana Yoga, what Krishna was explaining, but this is a different detour he has taken. What happens if one faithfully takes to this yogic process, whichever is the yogic process, could be the Karma Yoga or any other yoga, indirectly is kind of telling that, but later falls away without perfecting that spiritual consciousness. So what will happen? That's what he's saying. So any guesses what will happen if suppose you are taken the spiritual path and you have not perfected it, and then you left this material body, then what will happen? Anybody?
Next opportunity will come to
Next
continue it.
Janma.
Yeah, Mallikarjun Prabhu. Yes, please.
In next Janma, that opportunity will come to continue it.
Okay, very good. Any other answer? Anybody?
Like Prabhuji, last time also we discussed, whatever you hold on when you are actually leaving this body, you get an opportunity to do in the next thing. So holding on to it is very important so that you get next time the same.
Right. So what Krishna is also mentioning is that here he gives the answer. If you see here, the answer is the unsuccessful spiritualist is seemingly left in no man's land. Okay, having failed to attain spiritual satisfaction and simultaneously squandered his opportunity of worldly pleasure. See, what Arjuna is saying is that you are saying that one should pursue this path, but suppose I do not perfected that spiritual path, and what happened now? Na ghar ka na ghat ka. It's like that. Na ghar ka na ghat ka, meaning you are neither worldly pleasures you have not enjoyed, the sense pleasures that others enjoy, going to bars and other things, and going to movies and sense gratification, all that I did not do. And now since I have not perfected, I am not also the spiritual satisfaction is also not there. So what do? I am frustrated now because see why I am telling this, because once you come to Krishna consciousness, there will be so many distractions for you also. You will have to face this particular situation. See, what will happen is that now slowly you will start realizing that these things which are what mundane people really go for, it's not what is good for me. You will realize that, and now slowly your mind also will start helping you. But again, when you go to the spiritual path, you are not having so much of what do you say, support mechanism is not there, and there is a tendency that your mind can distract you, saying that "Arey, kya kar rahe hai yaar?" So earlier you used to be very happy, at least you used to see movies and used to go to this and that, and you used to have a nice friend circle where you used to hang out. Now you are not having. So what is happening with you? So this kind of a situation where your mind can really influence you and put you in a difficult situation. That's what is Arjuna's problem here. He's saying that my situation is like I'm in a neither this way nor that way. Then Krishna says, Krishna appeases all such fears. It's a fear by explaining that whatever takes up a genuine spiritual process is eternally benefited. Eternally benefited. Very marking words. Not the eternally benefited, even if they don't perfect it. Okay, if we don't complete it in one lifetime, we carry on to the next life from the same point, and the individual thus evolves towards spiritual perfection. So this is the guarantee that Krishna is giving. So don't worry. If you are not getting spiritual bliss or satisfaction in this process, don't worry. One is that you are on the right track, you are on the right path, so you do not have to fear for anything. So that is what Krishna is assuring you. Now in your next life you will be Krishna says that probably in the next I did not put that here, but Krishna mentions in the same next loka, he is saying that next life, what kind of a life I will give you? Can somebody remember what kind of life you will get if you are not perfected but started your journey? Yes, anybody guesses?
Yeah, you will be born in a family which is into this kind of work, and you will, from the beginning, you will be getting into this kind of a study and try to, evolve
Right.
yourself.
So my question is, what kind of a family you will be in?
In
That's
Bhakti
what
family
yes, Prabhuji, Mallikarjun.
and devotee family,
Brahmin.
Basically, Acharya's family, Brahmins and Acharyas.
Yeah, Jyoti Mataji, you are saying something?
Yeah,
Jyoti
Brahmin family. Brahmin
Okay.
family.
Okay, so Krishna says that he will give you an opportunity where your next life could be with a family which is aristocratic family. Aristocratic meaning that you are in a wealthy family. Wealthy, aristocratic is more or less the same. Aristocratic meaning you don't have to work at all. See, nowadays if you are a wealthy family also, people are working like a donkey. Why they are working like a donkey? Can somebody tell me? So though there are people who are they have so much of wealth, but still they are still working like a donkey. Why?
They want more and more. They're insecure about losing the wealth. They want to more and more of the wealth.
Right. Very good. Very good. Any other answer? Why people are working like a donkey, though they have so much money? Still they are working like donkeys.
Desires.
Yeah. Yes. Good. Any other answer, please?
Not
They don't know how
satisfied.
much
Yeah, Divya
endless
Mataji.
desires.
Right. So that I think the right word is or the right thing is that because of this endless desire, the modern society is in a situation where suppose I am having certain things, my desires are multiplying, again multiplying. So when I reach some goal, again something else come. So I am not able to enjoy whatever I have. I'm always thinking that tomorrow when I reach there, when I get that, then only I'll get the enjoyment. So I'm always, it's this rat race. So this rat race is going on, and you are neither enjoying the material things that are in your possession also. So that is the unfortunate situation. And the society and the you see when you go to your business what do you say, business world, a lot of people who are in the business they say that target reaching, if you have target of 10 lakhs that you will achieve this year, next year is 20 lakhs that you need to achieve, the next year 30 lakhs. So always it is increasing and you are frustrated and you are not able to enjoy, because root cause is that desire. Your desires are multiplying, as rightly said by one of the Matajis, right? So that is what it is.
Babuji, we can also say is greed, no? Greed also we can put a word.
Greed and desire is one and the same. To have a greed, you need to have a desire which is a greedy desire, right? So greed is also there. That desire is a loaded word, and once that
Yes.
kind of a desire which is tuning towards greed is what it is, right? So I did not complete that. So Krishna says that I will give you a next birth in a aristocratic family, not a wealthy family per se. He says aristocratic family is a family where you do not have to work like a laborer. So you can focus on higher things in your life. So that is what he says. And he says that I will give you a birth in a devotee family. Devotee family where they are already having that kind of a consciousness that obviously the environment is set where they can progress and start where they left off. So that kind of thing. Or in a Brahmin family in one way, because Brahmin family is said to be having an ideal platform for you to grow. So that's what he says, right? So the last one is yogi. After summarizing the arduous process of dhyana, meditation and Ashtanga yoga, the chapter concludes with a ray of hope. So Krishna reaffirms that the perfection and goal of all yoga systems is to help the individual become fully conscious of God at all times. So whichever is the yoga system that you are following, it is basically to fulfill the desire that I wanted to get God consciousness, or that's how any yoga system should work, to get the connection to the Lord, right? Yoga the definition for yoga is to get connection or get connected to. So while all yoga systems are certainly beneficial, the easiest and most efficient and essential path is known as bhakti yoga, which is what we will be starting from the next week, the yoga of devotion. In this age, the primary practice of bhakti yoga is mantra meditation. Mantra, the word mantra meaning, does anybody remember what is mantra? The word mantra meaning, what does it mean? What is mantra? Tra means what? Okay, so the man meaning is the mind, and tra meanings which delivers you. So something which delivers your mind is called mantra, and the one that we are chanting is not just a mantra, it is called maha mantra because it is the mantra of all the mantras. So that is maha mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is a maha mantra, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mercifully gave this, who is none other than Krishna, for us, for our elevation. And just by doing this chanting, you can elevate your consciousness, and spiritual consciousness will come to you automatically, because the mantra has got loaded so much that it will purify your heart, it will purify your thought process, everything. So the mantra, so and ideally one should do this Maha mantra. I don't know how many of you are started doing this mantra. I would advise you that you take up to this process of mantra meditation, Hare Krishna Maha mantra. Early in the morning, get up. After you take bath, sit down quietly for 5 to 10 minutes, at least to start with 5 to 10 minutes, and chant the Hare Krishna Maha mantra, and see the change coming to you yourself. And your day, it is like you see that consciousness which is there, which is a higher consciousness, which will drive your entire day in a way that you will be peaceful and will be more productive in your mundane tasks also. So that assurance I can tell you because of my own personal experience, that will happen. Okay, through this process, any person from any background can attain spiritual perfection and experience all benefits. Whatever benefits, spiritual benefits one should get, by this process you will get, right? So that is what we are. Any questions so far? Yeah, Prabhuji, Mataji, any questions?
Clear, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay, so let's okay, so let's take up some questions, please. And the mystic yogi, let me tell you this. See, I have not covered everything from the what is there in the Dhyana Yoga, but more or less we covered all that what is essential. But in these questions, you might see some things which we have not covered. But that's the reason why we are doing this quiz, so we can also get the benefit of what we have not covered. Okay, the mystic yogi who practices the yoga system dash.
B.
Okay,
B, Prabhuji.
B.
B for ball.
D
Yes,
for doll.
Prabhuji. Ball.
B for doll. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was remembering when somebody said A, B, C, D. See, when kids go to this nursery and all these classes, we kind of tell them A for apple, B for ball, C for cat, D for dog. But I don't know, but in the Hindi medium, but in Telugu medium, I see that the way we introduce the children with these alphabets is ante amma. So can somebody remember what they learned?
Yes, Prabhuji.
What is
Ow.
Aau, amma,
E.
aau,
Ilu, ilu.
iga. So this is how we, right? So basically you see that the word starts with the mother, which who has given us the birth. And how many people are taking care of their parents, you tell me? So the respect to the parents, respect to the elders, hardly there is any. If you wanted to get spiritual consciousness, one way is that which is what is there in the prescribed duties. In the prescribed duties, it is said that Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava. So you should Atiti Devo Bhava. So in our prescribed duties, it is mentioned that you should give respect and serve your mother, father, touch their feet. How many of you have the occasion to touch your parents' feet? You tell me. So touch their
Birthday.
feet. So yeah, only birthday, right? So at least that is really good. At least now, this is how you should do. And at the same time, again, I might be really orthodox in one way saying, but a wife also should touch the husband's feet. You now people will they'll ask my address where I am, and kind of they might say, what is this nonsense you're talking about? But this
Correct.
used to be our culture, and this is there in prescribed duties. Why husband should not touch the wife's what do you say, feet? That is not there in our shastras. You might say that this is all inequality, all these things. But shastra, whatever is given in the shastra, is not coming from any person who is having any distinction between male and female. It is coming from Supreme Lord, who is equal to all. Just imagine, I was reading Mahabharata and seeing, Krishna, though he knew that Duryodhana's character, the way he has insulted Draupadi, and he did all bad things, but still when an opportunity came where Krishna is supposed to help, and he said, okay, if anybody wants to come and ask my help, I will give. Including Duryodhana came, and he has given his entire Narayana Sena to Duryodhana. He did not say that, hey, you are a outcast, you did insult Draupadi, and you did Vastrabharanam and all these things. How can you come to me and see me? So he is equal to all. Though they make mistakes, but still he is equal to all. But again, he says that in Bhagavad Gita at later point of time, you'll see, but I am equal to all, but I have special, what do you say, I am more dear to
Inclination.
my inclination. I am more dear to my devotees. He says that very clearly. I am equal to all, but I am more dear to my devotees, and my devotees are dear to me. So he says that. So just keep that in mind and follow the prescribed duties. And if you are a person who is following the spiritual path, you should see change in yourself. And the change which you can see outside of the way you do things, you should come. So the way you deal with your wife, the way you deal with your husband, the way you deal with your kids, with your parents, you should make some impact. Try to put things in practice. Don't hesitate. So most of the time what we do is that we hesitate. We are fearful. Well, now if I touch my parents' feet, what will they think? They think that now ye maska mark kar raha hai. That means వీడు ఏదో మక్కన వేస్తున్నాడు, ఏదో అవసరం ఉంది వీడికి, అందుకే వీడు వచ్చాడు, ఈస్ టచింగ్ మై ఫీట్ అనుకుంటారు. ఓకే, ఏమనుకుంటారో మనకు అనవసరం. వాట్ ఎవర్ దే థింక్ ఇస్ immaterial to us, but you do your duty without any expectations. Okay, fortunately I had an opportunity to serve my parents, both my parents, till they're both left this material world now, but I had an opportunity to serve them, and the satisfaction you have till now, I am very satisfied that I had an opportunity to serve my parents. So each one of you keep that in mind and do your prescribed duties. And one of them is taking care of your parents and taking care of your family, all these things. Okay. A mystic yogi who practices this yoga system is desiring some self-satisfaction. A mystic yogi, he's not talking about yogi, he's talking about mystic yogi. A mystic yogi is somebody who wants to get siddhis. Once one person came to Srila Prabhupada and he said, I have got a mystic power and I did lot of tapas for 30 years in Himalayas and now I can walk on water. So that is the mystic power I got. Then Srila Prabhupada says that it is 2 rupees worth it. Whatever mystic you got, it is 2 rupees worth it. Why? But Srila Prabhupada said, you have spent your 30 years to get this mystic power. I can give 2 rupees to a boatman and then he will cross me to the other side. Why do I need it? So that is what so one should be very careful. Some people, especially I remember a lot of people got attracted when somebody said that the Puttaparthi Sai Baba from here he can produce gold chains, gold ornaments, all these things. So these kind of gimmicks, what is the benefit? So if you can bring in some Krishna consciousness or self-realization, that's all you should have, but not these gimmicks. Why does the yogi cease all the disturbing mental activities? When does a yogi cease or stop all disturbing mental activities?
See, Prabhuji.
Okay. Yeah. Any other answer?
See.
Okay, that's the right answer. See, one of the things here we are talking in context of the Dhyana Yoga. So when you're done with the practice of meditation, that means the 8th path is completed, then only you will cease all these mental activities, disturbing activities are subsided. Or at least when you are completing the Yama, Niyama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, so Dana comes there. So you have to go through that cycle. So it's a tedious process, but we have a easier process to do. And what is that easy process that we are recommended to follow?
Bhakti.
Which
Bhakti.
one, please? Yeah.
Bhakti.
Maha mantra.
What exactly in Bhakti?
Sankirtana.
Chanting.
Yeah,
Maha mantra.
it's a easy process. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. All your heart gets purified by chanting the holy name because it has the power. So that's how it is. Which of the following are important in yoga system?
Hey Prabhuji,
Body and mind,
See, Prabhuji.
conditioned soul, conditioned soul.
See.
Okay.
See, Prabhuji.
Answer is mind and conditioned soul. So what are the following important in yoga system? See, in the yoga system which you are talking about, your main idea is to control the mind, and you are basically your conditioned soul. That is where, see, conditioned soul is the person who is conditioned and your mind is not in control. So that is the problem. So both are important. Conditioned soul is required to take up this process, and the mind is also to be put in place. So this is the, sometimes what happens is that you may not get the right answer, but you pick up the best of the all what you have here. So when we are framing the questions, that's how we do. Okay. What is the effect of controlling the mind?
Both and D.
See, Prabhuji.
See, Prabhuji.
So one follows the dictation of the super soul. See, that is what. Can somebody remember? I mentioned this dictation of the super soul. What yesterday I told super soul is a facilitator.
Correct.
But
Yesterday
here he
class.
says that dictation of the super soul. That means super soul is doing what?
Facilitating.
Yeah, facilitating.
Facilitating doer.
Yeah, super soul is not doing facilitating here. When he says super
Guide.
soul is,
Exactly.
huh?
He's acting a role of a father, as we said. If you
Yeah.
don't,
So
he'll yeah.
super soul is now giving guidance as a spiritual master, right? As a spiritual master, super soul is there. It will start giving you that guidance. It will come out from the facility, like in the facilitation role it will also do, but again it will take predominantly, it will take the guidance role. That stage will come later, not immediately, because you are conditioned. So the conditioning slowly, once it goes away, then you can start seeing yourself. That when we said that there are two things on the left and the right shoulder, one is the devil and the other is angel. So you will be listening to the angel, and that's what the angel here means, the super soul, which is covered now, which is not see, we've seen that in the previous chapters. The consciousness is compared with so many things. One is that a smoke and a fire and an embryo and a seed, all these things, right? So now our soul, which is their super soul, we are not even able to reciprocate with our soul, but left out the super soul part, right? So now slowly, once you start taking this process, things will reveal. What are the qualities of a transcendentalist?
All of the above.
C. Prabhuji.
All of
All of
the
the above.
See,
Prabhuji.
yeah, thank you, Sirisha Mataji. What class you are studying, Sirisha Mataji? Okay, so the answer is D. All the above, all of this. Which of the following is required for yoga practice? Okay.
all of this.
All of these, Prabhuji.
All of the above.
Which of the following yoga system householder brahmacharis? Yeah, little tricky. Let's get it. Householder brahmacharis.
D, Prabhuji.
DD.
Okay.
All of the above.
Okay.
D, Prabhuji.
Okay. Any other answer? Anybody else? No? No attempts?
Prabhuji.
Bhakti yoga.
A. Okay. So, which of the following yoga systems admits householder brahmacharis? Householder brahmacharis, right? See, in any other yoga system, dhyana yoga, where you go and do dhyana yoga, you go to a secluded place and do. Gnana yoga, you renunciate everything and then go, right? Because all material world is mithya for you. That means you feel that this is not what one should have, because I am not this material body, I am spirit soul. So you find that you leave up all these material things, and in Gnana yoga you renunciate. So who admits householder brahmacharis is Bhakti Yoga only. In Bhakti Yoga, you find that householder brahmacharis are there. See, it's a kind of a tricky word, householder brahmacharis. See, householder brahmachari meaning a person who stays in a house, who is unmarried. The only place where you find this kind of a thing is in the people who are practicing Bhakti Yoga. Because Dhyana Yoga, you are just leaving everything and going to a secluded place, and Jnana Yoga, you are renunciating everything. There is nothing called a house or this and that. Okay. What makes a conditioned soul fearful?
B.
C, Prabhuji.
C.
Okay. Answer is A and B.
C. Yeah, and B. C. Option C.
Makes a conditioned soul fearful. The conditioned soul is perverted memory. So your memory is always perverted because of the past actions, whatever you have taken. So that is very fearful, because I know sometimes we see that though we are in this process, all of a sudden there might be one or two people, you'll see that they got diverted and they are totally doing something which is contrary to what they are expected. So that can happen because of the past memories. The past memory is basically from the past life or this current life. So that impressions are there. So purification, unless and until you are purified, you should not leave one thing. What is that? Unless and until you are purified, you should not leave one thing. What is that? What is that you should not leave? Yeah, this is a test for all of you. How much you are
Diversion.
grasped? Huh?
Diversion.
Okay. Yeah, not clear for me. What did you say?
Diversion.
Diversion. Okay. Yeah, let me repeat the question. What is one thing if you have, you will be in the right track? Did I put my question
Concentration.
properly? Devotion.
Concentration.
Concentration. If you have concentration, Santosh Prabhuji.
Consciousness.
Santosh Prabhuji.
Yeah, Prabhuji. I think it's about.
No. There is a lot of disturbance that comes from your side, background noise. So please go to a room where I know family. You are a family person, so you have. But yeah, so because it gets disturbed sometimes. Huh? Okay, fine. So what I was asking you a question is that what is one thing that will keep you in the process, whichever you are taken, intact? What is one thing if you have that will really help you? That one should not leave. What is that?
Consciousness.
Character.
Character. One word answer.
Believe on
Character.
God. Believe on God.
God. Okay. Anything
Consciousness,
else?
Prabhuji.
Yeah, you told that. One Mataji has already told. Anything else?
Jignasa.
Jignasa. Okay. Jignasa is always a starting point. Yeah, that's also correct. Okay. Anything else? I did not get the right answer. Again, right answer not according to me, according to Shastra. Again, anybody, anything else? Just try. So this is where you need to keep your mind focus. Whatever we are doing, it should give you to the right result when you come back and think about it. What is something that if you have, you will not lose track and you will be in good protection? What is that?
Controlled mind. Beautiful engagement.
Intelligence. Intelligence, Prabhuji.
Intelligence,
Controlled
controlled
mind.
mind.
Dutiful
Yeah,
engagement.
dutiful engagement. Okay. Okay, so by end of this class, I would play one video, so then you can get the answer. Okay, just remind me if I forget. Okay, so what is the ultimate goal of practicing yoga according to Bhagavad Gita? To attain any kind of material facility? No. To attain the kingdom of God? Maybe yes. To improve one's health? Not necessarily. To aspire after material perfection? See, I would give you a hint. I'll give you a hint for those who have not been able to, what do you say, answer with confidence. Always,
B,
this can be holding good for in your material world also, because I used to give a lot of these trainings for project management, professional training, agile training. I used to give solution architect, enterprise solution architect trainings, and I am a certified in all these. And okay, multiple choice questions used to be there, and the way you need to take is that first it goes with the elimination process. Out of 4, 2 things will go automatically, you will just eliminate. So in these 2, if you see, the A and D are directly eliminated to attain a kind of material facility. This is eliminated. That is not the ultimate goal of anything, right? So this is eliminated. And D, to aspire for material perfection. This is also eliminated, because ultimate goal of yoga is not to get material perfection, right? So now the question is between these 2. Probably I just took it like that. But to attain the kingdom of God, this when compared to improve one's health or any other question, right? The B should be the right answer, right? I'm just talking about elimination process to attain the kingdom of God. Okay, that's the right answer. Okay, who can perform yoga among the following?
B.
Yep,
B.
that's the right answer. Material for a Krishna conscious person, as he is regulated in dash.
Option D, all of the above.
D.
Okay, as per Bhagavad Gita, this is the right answer. Sorry, there was a typo here. Okay, there is no material misery for a Krishna conscious person, as he is regulated in his work and speech. Yes, he is regulated in work and speech. He is regulated in sleep and wakefulness. That is also his bodily act is all the above. D is the right answer. Okay, so what is the primary characteristic of a yoga principle? So we'll end with last one or two questions. What is the primary characteristic of a yoga principle? By practice of yoga, one becomes
B.
B is the right answer. The practice of yoga, one becomes gradually detached from material concepts. So B is the right answer. One who engages oneself in the practice of yoga with dash, undeviating determination and faith, abandons all material desires and control of the senses.
C.
Option C.
C.
I'm going a little fast, so catch it up later in the video if I can send it. What is the required to remain in quality of Brahman? Fix one's mind on the lotus feet of the Lord. Consciousness, engage in yoga, identify the absolute. Fix one mind in the lotus feet of the Lord. That is what we are also doing, right? So as part of the Bhakti Yoga also, we are doing that only. Who sees Lord everywhere? Yes.
A. Prabhuji.
Yeah, that's right.
Easy one. It's simple.
Thank you. What is the cause of distress of a living being?
Both A and B.
Okay. Any other answer?
C. Prabhuji.
Okay.
A, Prabhu.
B is the right answer. C is the right answer. What reason do Arjuna gives for not practicing yoga system prescribed by Krishna?
B, Prabhuji.
B. Prabhuji.
B. Prabhuji. B.
Okay, that's correct. Nitin, okay. The mind being restless and unsteady for performing yoga system. Mind is the culprit. So you need to know how to control your mind. When you do mantra meditation and chanting the holy name, automatically mantra, as I told you, your mind will be delivered, because mind will start complying with your process whichever is there. Mind will be in control of the intelligence, and intelligence is in control of the soul. How is the age of Kali? Can one curb the restless mind? In the age of Kali, one can curb the restless mind. Impersonal
Both B and
spirituality.
C.
Yeah.
Both B and C.
That's correct. B and C. Practice of Krishna consciousness. Engage in the 9 types of devotional service. Can somebody remember what are the 9 types of devotional service? Navavida Bhakti.
Association of people.
Smaranam, Kirtanam, Padasevanam, Vandanam.
Okay. So fine, Madam. You got it. So we sang that song last week, if you remember. So Bajahure Mana. So you go and read that particular song or sing that particular song. In the last part, Navavida Bhakti. This is what Prahalad Maharaj has given actually. Prahalad Maharaj has given this Navavida Bhakti. So that you can reciprocate to the Lord in any of these 9 process or more than one process. Okay, so we'll talk about that in greater detail later. So the last 2 more questions. What happens to a person who is in the path of self-realization, desists due to worldly mindedness and doesn't attain perfection?
D, Prabhu.
Okay.
C.
C.
A. Prabhuji.
C. Prabhuji.
C.
C. Prabhuji.
What
A.
we
Prabhuji.
right? So the words what is mentioned here, the way the question was framed is confusing. So what it says is that if suppose somebody has taken the spiritual path and later on he got distracted and he just left the spiritual path, what will happen to that person and he left his body? That is the question. What will happen then?
C.
C,
That's the
Where
right
he left.
answer.
C, Prabhuji.
Whatever you do in the spiritual path, whatever you did, it will not get lost. You will be starting off in your from where you left off in the next life. So nothing is lost. That's what Krishna is saying. So fearlessly go, do whatever based on your capacity. Okay, do that much, and the rest leave it to Lord. You whether you perfect it now or not doesn't matter. Next life you will perfect it. Why the birth in a family of yogis or transcendents is appreciated?
B Prabhuji.
Okay.
D.
D Prabhuji.
Yeah, that's right. Fruity work without Krishna consciousness dash. Make it fast.
D Prabhuji
A.
spiritual.
Waste
A.
of time. Fruity work without Krishna consciousness. Whatever mundane work you are doing without Krishna consciousness is waste of time. Last and final. Which of the following is the highest stage of yoga?
D. Bhakti Yoga.
B.
D Prabhuji.
Okay. Yes, you got it. You
D
perfected.
Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so it's 5:30 now. If you have few minutes, I can show you one video of Prabhupada. And also I said I said one question that we will be discussing, right? What was that? Can somebody remember? What was that question that I said that we will discuss? I asked you a question. Can somebody remember?
Why Super Soul does not guide you when you take wrong desires?
That is one thing. The other one, just now in the middle of this discussion, I said one
If you
thing.
have one thing, you will not be deviated from the right path.
What is that one thing that we should always keep? If you have that, you will not deviate from the path, and at the same time it will benefit you in a long run and also benefit you as you move. What is that, right? For that, after seeing this video, tell me if you got the answer or
Supreme
not.
Soul. Supreme Soul.
Next week. Yeah, Prabhuji, you're saying something?
Supreme Soul. Prabhuji.
Okay, so we'll see that. Right? So the next week we'll be discussing about or we'll be going into the wonderful sector called Bhakti Yoga. And the first one that we will be talking about is, see, in Bhakti Yoga you will be learning about or knowing about the Supreme Lord. So the divine. So you need to know who is the divine. So that is what Bhakti Yoga, and the knowledge of the absolute is what you will be learning as part of that in next week. Okay, next chapter, 7th chapter. Okay, so that's what it is. And let me 1 second.